So last class we saw how to create the freestyle jobs, and then set off we did the entire build procedure, selecting the jobs and creating the jobs. So we saw about the Polesium, how you schedule to scheduling a build, how you do the webhook triggering. Also we saw the
Uh-huh.
downstream and upstream job setups. Okay,
Upstream, yeah.
so those details completely we saw it, and today we'll discuss about the pipeline jobs. Okay, that's
Pipeline.
very important. That is the automations thing. Okay, the automations, how we'll do the automation stuff. So guys, let me share my screen 1 second.
Yeah.
See my last
Here, Anand, we can see. Yeah.
my first class video is still in converting actually, so it is converting the video. So whatever is recorded is converting, it is taking 86% is.
Uh-huh.
So maybe due to some slowness or something, it is getting
Uh-huh.
here. Let me maybe it will be good when we get the. And also
So,
I
Ranjit,
will,
Ranjit,
yeah, yeah.
if same video if will upload to YouTube, YouTube will not compress anything like WhatsApp used to do, na? So same way not there.
No, YouTube not compressing anything. They are processing like
Oh,
whatever the loading. Actually, they have some different two types of like SD version and HD version, standard definition and high definition, right?
oh, okay.
So they're converting it
Got it.
again. While converting, while processing, that should also require a
Mm.
high network. If the internet speed is less, then maybe there
Oh,
is
high enter. Okay.
the compressing and all, right?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Tapan bhai, for temporary purpose, you can use the PowerPoint to record the video from your end.
So,
You can do that, but
Means,
I would suggest not to do
for
that.
temporary
uh,
purpose, yeah.
Yeah, okay, you can do that for temporary purpose if you want. Yes, in PowerPoint we have
mhm.
good features, I believe. Yes, we can do.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Anyways,
Okay. Okay.
don't worry. Today's video and tomorrow's video, anyway, I have to process through. Only maybe yesterday's video you'll having some delay, right?
Only yesterday. Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Because I
Only.
just I just down uploaded that video on YouTube and went outside. Right when I came back, it was
Mm.
stuck. So the internet was
Stuck.
again. I restarted it. So that's the causing. Maybe
Uh,
that's the problem. Anyway, maybe I'll upload again that video. I'll delete that and upload again the video tomorrow. Okay. With all these videos, I'll
uh,
upload
uh.
them also.
No, that is manageable. Actually, it's just a 5 second delay. Actually,
Oh,
not an issue. We can manage.
okay, okay, then fine.
Not much actually.
Okay.
Not much actually.
Uh, okay, guys.
Yeah.
So I have my server.
Please go ahead.
So I have my server started here. So Jenkins, let me just log into the server. So hope everyone install Jenkins and at least try to install the plugins and
Yes.
no all this, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
so guys, today I showed you how many types of jobs are there. There are different types of jobs to create, but mostly we're creating freestyle project, pipeline job or pipeline project, and we'll just see about the multi-branch pipelines. Okay, the first thing we created and we have seen so far is freestyle project. So today let me create one pipeline job today. Suppose I'll just give Java project and I'll give suppose MD Java project and I can give pipeline job. Okay, now select the pipeline option here. Pipeline, give. Okay. Before that, what is pipeline job? That we need to understand. I'm not creating it now. So let me just share my screen. So I'll just tell you what is pipeline. Okay. Jenkins pipeline. So if you see it here, okay, you can find it out like when the checkout happens, build will be automatically started, and then testing and the whatever the test, unit test or integration test you are going to do that, and then deliver to the staging environment. Okay, quality test whatever is done, then deliver to the staging environment. This entire pipeline, whatever we have seen in the freestyle jobs, we have to only select and the options which we need to get it. But the Jenkins pipeline is actually an automated way to do the job setup, an automated way to do the job setup. So for that, we can use different languages to write the pipeline code. Okay, pipeline logic code. So what are those? Let's discuss further. So what is Jenkins pipeline? Jenkins is an open source continuous integration server which has the ability to support automation of software development process. The automation of the software development process. So we can create multiple automation jobs with the help of use cases and run them as a Jenkins pipeline. So whatever the test cases or the job setups we have done in the freestyle, the same things with multiple steps, multiple stages, multiple conditions, everything we can write in a pipeline or in some code, and we can create Jenkins pipeline and then execute it.
So, Ranjit, sorry actually. So Ranjit, it's a Jenkins pipeline, no? First line.
Yes, Jenkins pipeline. It's called pipeline.
Oh, oh.
As a
Mhm.
Jenkins, we are
No,
using.
uh, you just mention only Jenkins, no? So it should be Jenkins pipeline, no?
No, no, no. Here, this one, right? This one I'm
This one, yeah.
giving just introduction about just giving a just the what the Jenkins does actually. Jenkins is an open
Oh,
source
okay, okay, okay,
continuous
okay.
integration server. That is what it is, an open source continuous
Oh, okay.
integration server which has the ability to support automation of the software
Support.
development developers. So
Oh, okay, Jenkins.
how we
Okay, okay.
achieve this automation software development process by using this Jenkins pipeline. Okay, so we can create multiple automation jobs by using the Jenkins pipeline. So where are the reasons why you should use Jenkins pipeline? You have to answer this in the questions. They'll suppose I'll ask candidate what is this Jenkins pipeline. So you can say that to automate your jobs, to automate your build process, continuous integration process. You can write the pipeline code in the Jenkins pipeline. So why should you use? The question is why should you use pipeline code? So Jenkins pipeline is,
Mm.
then you can tell like uh, whatever things. Okay, what you can say, Jenkins pipeline is implemented as a code which allows multiple users to edit and execute the pipeline process. So when we are using in the real time development work, whenever we are adding or creating any applications or any project or any product, so in future that could be new features or new application feature will be added into the product, right? So when you are adding new features or new modules, what you are doing, you are editing the code, you are modifying the code, you are adding something into the code. That also the same way, when you are modifying your automation process, you are adding new features to the automation process, you can edit, add into the pipeline code. But the same things you cannot do the freestyle jobs, because freestyle job is already you are setting up inside the job alone. But here we are separately outside changing the code, and that we'll see how we can call this pipeline inside the job. That okay.
Okay, okay.
So what it does, pipelines are robust. So if your server undergoes an unforeseen restart, the pipeline will be automatically resumed. That means suppose you are whatever the pipeline job you have set up, in case of your server goes down and you restarted the server, your pipeline will be still there and it will be automatically resumed. Okay, that should not be. You don't have to do anything separately manually. Now you can pause the pipeline process and make it wait to resume until there is an input from the user. So that means the environment variable or the command line variable, whatever we have seen in the programming command line argument or anything we are passing through the project to run. The same thing also you can achieve in the pipeline. Suppose you need particular versions to be executed, particular user need to be added, particular variable and the value to be added to the code, you can do that way also. You can purge the pipeline by asking for the value of that particular variable. Once you provide that, you can execute that one. You can do. Okay, I'll show you how we can do that. Now, Jenkins Pipeline supports big projects. You can run multiple jobs and even use pipelines in a loop. So, whatever we learned in the freestyle, that is, and there will be a questions, right? Even I used to ask the questions. What is the main difference between freestyle and pipeline? What is the
See,
main difference?
as you told, na, the editing option, we can modify that new feature, all this. And
So
that is
maybe
already integrated. We can modify outside actually, and we can plug in.
That is the secondary thing. That is the different other
that may
option.
be
Uh-huh.
a
The first
bunch
thing,
of code edited by different. Suppose there will be in that particular release, that
I
version,
got it.
multiple components will be.
That is the additional feature of Jenkins pipeline. But what is the basic need?
Multiple jobs.
Okay, then
Then multiple user also.
Multiple user modify multiple stuff and multiple build. It is just like if you see, suppose different version are there. Suppose different projects are there to be pipeline to build at same time for any modification.
okay, that
Means
is
the whole project consider multiple component, multiple developer done multiple modification in multiple different tags on which they are working. So at the same time, I'll do the build and it will run all those modification at a single go.
exactly. And the common way and the basic
Uh-huh.
things. One simple word we can tell the for
Mm-hmm.
entire automations of the jobs. The full automations, the entire automation of the jobs you can do, write the pipeline code. That is the basic things. Whenever we tell about the
Mm-hmm.
multiple whatever others you guys told, that's correct, and you have to tell all these options after that. Then the interviewer will be happy that this guy knows everything, and he'll feel like you have worked. One thing. The another question is when you will go for freestyle and when you will go for pipeline. I need one answer only, not don't elaborate anything. Simple answer, and that
Uh-huh.
should be okay. When you will go for freestyle and when you will go for pipeline. Okay, let me take.
Pipeline you will go when multiple components are built at means developers are
Okay,
working on multiple components in
Multi-users. Mm-hmm.
multiple means it will be not is if you see a project consist of multiple sub components, so different developer working on different sub components at a go the release is going. So one set of developer don't know the other set of developer what they're doing, so parallelly at the same it will go, it
that
will
that you are talking,
build.
that whatever you are telling is not for only single pipeline. That will be for multi-branch pipeline. That will be for
Multi-branch. Multi-branch.
okay, that will
So
be for
multi-branch.
multi-branch pipeline. So only for pipeline actually. This is actually what simple things actually, guys. Whenever we are doing some repeated task, whenever you are doing some repeated task and you are writing the code, you are just coming here and setting up the jobs and manually every time. To overcome this problem, right? We can write the Jenkins pipeline code and you can use that code for your automations, whenever you need some changes, you go ahead and just edit the code and run it. That's all. You don't have to do the multiple times. Single time you write the code and execute multiple times, and multiple jobs can use the same code. Multiple jobs can use the same code. But in case of freestyle, only one job you have to create per project. You cannot create multiple projects, multiple jobs, right? Only one job can create that particular project, and you can set it off. So for you, if you want to create other jobs, you have to again go manually and select that one. But for pipeline, you write the code once, use many times for many projects.
Mhm.
You can do that.
For
That's
many.
the one thing for pipeline. But when you should go for freestyle jobs, guys, remember one answer. Whenever you are doing some ad hoc basis, you are setting off any jobs in ad hoc basis, if you need some immediately something to be built, and that's only for one time, you don't have to waste time to write the
Mhm.
pipeline code, because pipeline writing the pipeline code, executing it will take lots of time. Simply what you can come here, you can just go ahead and create one freestyle job, freestyle project, do the setups and
And
build
finish it.
immediately finish it, and then you don't need maybe that job. Once your work is done, you can delete the job, or you can keep it there, not a problem. So whenever you need any ad hoc basis build, you can just go ahead and create a freestyle job immediately and build the project. But whenever you need a repeated build, repeated task, and for features also you're going to use, just go ahead with a pipeline project. And pipeline project as is a is just a way to modify, as I told, multiple users, multiple DevOps users, multiple people can edit the code and do the changes accordingly based on their requirement. When suppose you are doing some changes today, tomorrow is another changes, you can directly come to the pipeline code, edit it, and execute the build. That's simple. You can do it. What it retains here: orchestrate long running activities that can span multiple build agents, suitable for building pipelines. And organize complex activities that do not easily fit in the freestyle job. Okay, so complex activities means you are adding lots of conditions, lots of looping will be there, or lots of conditions will be after this you have to do that. Lots of steps will be there. You'll be adding build, you will be adding lots of other steps, and then you are constantly running that one. So that this is complex activities you cannot achieve through the freestyle. Only things you can do it, only the ad hoc works, which is you need immediately to build something, to execute something, to deliver one file to another server, or to some kind of small setups. You have to go for freestyle projects. And the multi-branch, when you go, as Siba told, multi-pipelines, if there are multiple DevOps engineers and multiple people will be working, multiple developers will be working, you can set up multiple pipeline, and based on the branch, they can build their own project. Don't have to wait and depend on the other one. So if whatever modifications they are doing, it will not impact the other resources. You can still do this branch pipelines. Okay, so let's discuss further. So now we saw about this Jenkins pipeline. We saw like we have to write the code and all, but where to write the code? Where to write the code? How to write the code? That also we have to know. So how we'll write the code? We'll write the code in the Jenkins file. The file name is a Jenkins file, and this Jenkins file,
Jenkins.
and this is very simple basic questions, and you should expect questions from the interview. Jenkins pipeline can be
Huh.
defined using a text file, simple text file. Okay, that's called Jenkins files. You will create a Jenkins file, simple text file. If I log into my GitHub account, there I have few Jenkins files as well. Suppose github.com. Let me see this project, and you can find here simple Jenkins files there in this project. Okay, Jenkins file here. Now, what it says, you can implement pipeline as code, that is called Jenkins or pipeline as code. Remember, guys, pipeline as code using Jenkins file using Jenkins file. Okay, so you can implement pipeline as code using Jenkins file, and this can be defined by using domain specific language that is called DSL. Domain specific language. You don't have to use any specific language like Java or C or C++ or .NET, anything. No, you don't have, right? So here the domain specific language we have to use. That is very simple, guys. Don't get confused, don't get scared. Actually, it's very simple to write the code. Anyone can write the code. Okay, now what is the benefits of using the Jenkins file? So you can create pipeline automatically for all branches and execute pull requests with the Jenkins file. You can review your code on the pipeline. You can audit your Jenkins pipeline. Audit in the sense, when suppose you are doing some automation, if you don't do it in a proper way, managing the code, like in the making it repositories and not putting in the source code management, if something happens to the code and breaks, if you don't find any history, don't find any audit logs, then it will be a problem, because we don't know who has broken the egg. You should know who has broken the egg. Then you can find it the culprit and take the actions. Here also same things, we can, for audit purpose, we can write the Jenkins files and we can put into our GitHub repositories. That also will have version controlled. We can do the version control, which we cannot achieve in freestyle jobs. Freestyle jobs, anyone can just come here, edit and do the builds automatically. But in pipeline, we can do the version controlled for audit purpose. Okay. This is the
Mhm.
singular source for your pipeline and can be modified by multiple users. Whatever we discussed, multiple users can modify that. So now, as it is version controlled, we can know who has updated the multiple, or who has updated our Jenkins file, the code. Now, we know how to write and where to write the Jenkins file. There are different ways of writing also. Have different kind of like specific DSL languages you can use. Like there are two types of languages. One is called declarative and the other one is the scripted way. So declarative versus scripted way pipeline syntax. There are two types of syntax used for defining your Jenkins file. So you have to write a simple Jenkins file. You can write in two different ways. One is declarative and the next one is the scripted one. So what is declarative? Declarative pipeline syntax offers an easy way to create pipelines. It contains a predefined hierarchy to create Jenkins pipeline. It gives you the ability to control all aspects of a pipeline execution in a simple, straightforward manner. It's very easy. And the scripted things is they'll ask, you'll get questions, which way you can create the pipelines, what type of now syntax you can write. You can tell two ways we can create, declarative and scripted ways, and they'll ask you which way you have worked in your company, in your organization, in your project. Have you used a scripted way or declarative? And based on that, they will ask questions. If you say declarative, then they'll ask questions on the declarative way. If you say I have written scripted way, then they'll ask you questions on the scripted way. Okay, and they'll ask what is the difference between declarative and scripted. Okay, that also you have to tell. So scripted Jenkins pipeline runs on the Jenkins master with the help of lightweight executor. It uses very few resources to translate pipeline into atomic commands. Both declarative and scripted syntax are different from each other and are defined totally differently. Scripted pipelines, actually, I missed something here. I did not write it. Maybe I'll write it maybe in the next classes. It should be there. The scripted, actually, when you use in the scripted, you are going to use this Groovy syntax, Groovy script. So people, guys, may know about the Groovy script. So all of the syntax, whatever is written here, will be in the Groovy syntax. I'll show you how the Groovy syntax looks like. Okay, let me go quickly here and uh, always you have to follow the Jenkins documentation. Always remember, guys, any tool, anything you are learning, always follow their documentation. They have lots of and rich documentations you can
But
learn from that. Okay, so the pipelines here you can find different ways to write the pipelines. What is the Jenkins pipeline? Is switch for plugins and all continuous delivery pipelines. You can write it. So the domain specific language. So you can see the declarative and scripted line, and here why to should we use the pipeline for code, for durable, for versatile, for extensible. What are the differences? You can quote it. Let me just ping you this link. You can use this link to learn more on the pipeline. Okay, so keep it handy. Just copy this one, or I'll ping you in the WhatsApp. Okay, don't worry. So here is the process actually in
yeah,
the
yeah.
diagram. If you see it here, the development, same processes. So we don't have to see all this. So let me just increase the font here a little bit. Okay. Now, if you see here, the development process here it comes, then starting source commit, repo branches name, workflow starts, staging, source code checkout, right? Checkout happens, then staging build will happen, then test stage will happen, then deploy stage. Different stages will be there in the pipeline. So that's why they have given a pipeline symbol here, tab symbol, pipeline. So in the pipeline, you have to write different stages, different filtration stages, like when in your own aquaguard and water filter we have different water filter stages. Similarly here also we have to give different stages what you want to achieve in the code, that you have to write it. Okay, so let me just go quickly, and here if you see the pipeline, what is this node? Guys, everyone should know what is node, right? Node is a machine which is part of the Jenkins environment and is capable of executing a pipeline. So this will cover in our slave and master and slave architecture discussion. Okay, we'll see about this node. So node is in also this node concept will see entirely DevOps. Whatever the tools we'll learn, everywhere you'll find node, 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 because company works on a cluster. And the what is cluster? The cluster is a group of
Nodes.
nodes or group of servers. Node you can say server. One node is one server. Okay. So whatever the
Even Ranjit,
yeah,
our laptop also you can call a node, na? If it is connect to network.
yes, yes. I can suppose
Okay.
I have a server. Suppose I got it master server. I made it to suppose in EC2 instances. I got Jenkins server, and I want to make my laptop
Mm.
as a node. I want to execute something on my
Mm.
laptop. I can make my laptop as a node and I can execute it. It will be done.
Mm.
I'll
Yeah.
show you how you
Mm.
can do it. Okay, we'll show. And
Mm.
and there are also different stages. What is this stage? A stage actually the block defines conceptually distinct subset of tasks performed through the entire pipeline. So what stage you want? Do you want to build it? Do you want to test it, or deliver, or publish, or deploy? So you have to write the stage. In the build, suppose I am going to build. In the build stage, I wrote stage build. Then what are the steps you want to do that? Then you have to write the step inside the build stage. In this stage, I want these steps to be executed. Just think about and visualize about our shell scripting. Suppose we are doing some task. What we have to do? We have to write the code one after another in sequentially order to be executed. Once that
To be
particular
executed. Yeah.
once it's done, then it will execute the next step, next step, next step, like that it will execute, right? Same way,
Yeah. Yeah.
what is
Mm.
step? A single task. Fundamentally, a step tells Jenkins what to do at a particular point of time. That is step. So let's see the pipeline syntax, then you'll easily understand. Here is the
Understand. Mm.
syntax. See guys, if
This is Ranjit, which
yeah, please.
this is which one you told about some
Yeah,
Ruby something you told, no? What is
yes,
that?
I'm telling. So guys, see, this declarative
Okay.
pipeline is very simple. Do we think it is difficult? That's all. You have to write only this much. Don't have to write anything. This is the skeletal of your syntax, skeletal form. You have to only write pipeline. What agent? Agent is nothing but node. Which node or which slave agent do you want to execute the build? You have to give here. So here I have given any. That means any agent, available agent, it will be executed. Any means this will be a question, guys. They'll say what when what agent if you want to execute, how you'll write. You can say agent and the agent name. Then this particular pipeline will be executed on this particular agent.
Anywhere.
Okay, on particular node or agent. If you are given any, that means any available agent, it will be executed. And the
Agent.
next is stages. Next is stages. Inside the stages, we have different stages. The first stage is build. I'm building, and in this build step, what are the steps you are going to do? So if I go here, let me just discard this and let me create a freestyle project here. Okay, okay. So no, I want to discard this. Let me discard this. Let's go to the freestyle job which I have created. I'll show you there. Suppose MB Java project. Okay, and configure here. Okay, what I was showing. Uh, okay, pipeline. So the steps, build steps. What are the steps you want to add? If you go and check here, why I showed you this one. If you go to the build section, because I'm going to automate, right? I should know what are the things are available in the build section. First thing is actually you can select what are the build you want. Do you want to execute a cell? So what you can do in the steps, you can write a cell script or write a some cell commands to do that. If you want to do some build and publish, you can write that one. If you want to do some Maven build, you can select the Maven build and write clean install, whatever you want, you can do that. So that steps is whatever we are setting up this in through the freestyle, that we can write it here. The steps, the code we are going to write it. I'll show you how to write, don't worry. The next is testing. Suppose another stage I add
Test.
testing. So you can do unit test, integration test, whatever you want. You can write the code here to do the testing. And the deployment. Deployment or delivery, you can do the deployment like you want to deploy once the build and test is success, you want to deploy the final product or the artifacts to the container or to the any server. What you can do, you can write the code to deploy it. That's all. This is the step only: build, test, deploy or delivery. Here if you want your pipeline to do only build, so you don't need to put all these two stages. Remove these two stages. If you want only deploy, remove these stages, only deploy. Got my point, guys? This is the skeletal what I was showing you. Now we'll discuss about the
So,
code.
so Ranjit, we can skip in between. Like
Yeah,
build testing, let manually will do, and deployment here it will
yes,
do.
yes, you can do that.
Is that possible?
It's possible,
Okay.
but you have to, you cannot put in one pipeline because the pipeline entirely will be
Yeah,
executed,
yeah,
right?
correct.
So you have to
It is
break it in
broken.
two pieces, and you can create two different jobs, one downstream, upstream, and you can put one hold
Hmm.
mark there. Once you do the tested, you can execute that one, it will deploy it. Okay, that you can do.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
now let's see what are the codes we are going. Okay, here is given whatever the things I just told you. Execute this pipeline or any of its stages, any available agent. That's why it is given any available agent. So defines the build stage, and 3 defines the build stage, the steps. All this is whatever I told is written here. And here is the declarative pipeline fundamentals. This is the declarative syntax. Okay, this is way how you have to write the declarative. But there is also a syntax called this is actually scripted line. This is scripted line.
Scripted.
Though scripted is very small here, but it is actually you have to write the groovy code, groovy script. Groovy has a different like shell script, Python script. We have also Groovy script. You have to write the Groovy script here to do the automations. Okay, I'll show you how this looks like. Don't worry. So here what happens? Schedules the steps contained within the block to run by adding an item to the Jenkins queue. As soon as an executor is free on a node, the steps will run. This is for everyone. Okay, this is for everyone. I'll show you how it works. Next, see, this is small example, pipeline example here. In the build status, suppose here he's using the make command. He's building some CPP or C++ or C programs by using SSH make. Make is a Tapan, make is build for C++ and C building, right? C programming. Make commands using, right?
Make and the CPP both actually.
Both. So you can use it.
Make file,
Yeah, make file. So in the building section, suppose I gave this one to do. After that, I did some testing. So what is this testing? I can use make check. Write SSH means it will execute the shell script, shell program, shell commands. Okay, all the shell commands it will execute. And I gave JUnit is a plugin or tool to do the unit testing, Java unit testing. All the Java related project, it will do the JUnit testing. Now what is happening here? Deploy. After that, I am doing the publishing of the code. That is what simply written it here. Now if I do in a broader perspective, in a broad range, how it looks like, let me show you. See, this code is look like this. This is a Jenkins file and I have written a pipeline here. Guys, is it visible?
So,
I have written some more code here. Here, simple things. Here I have used a declarative way pipeline. Isn't
declarative.
Yeah, isn't any tools. What build tool I'm going to use? Suppose Maven. Maven, when you write, what is this local Maven, guys?
And desktop it will be there.
What is this local Maven? Okay, Siva, yeah, just wait. I'm just let others tell. I think you understood correctly. Others, can you please tell what is this local? If you can tell this one, then I think you are okay for Jenkins. Otherwise, you have to practice more. What is this local Maven? Maven and local Maven here. I already have shown you in the Jenkins setup.
It's a local repository.
No. Okay.
It's a directory in the local machine.
Which directory? Previous told something. Which directory?
Repository directory.
No. Okay, guys, let me show you. Maven project. If you see this project, okay, and if I go to the configure here, and you will see one Maven building. When selecting the building, I'm selecting one path, right? I'm selecting one path, right? So if I select here the Maven version, I'm using local underscore Maven. So what is this local Maven? Where I'm getting this local Maven? Can anybody tell now? I made it easy. How, where I'm getting this local Maven?
You install on the server itself, the same server. You plug in Jenkins. That Maven you install, na?
Exactly.
That only.
So Maven we install in our server. Okay, Jenkins server. There actually I have set up the local Maven. If you were in Jenkins server, where I have set up this? In the global configuration tool. If you
The
go
plugins, no
plugin.
Global configuration.
That is what the question, guys. This is what the answer you have to give it. So manage
Uh-huh.
Jenkins. If you see it here in the global tool configuration, right? I understand it will take some time to get familiar with, but don't worry, it will take some time, but do practice. Okay, don't get confused, don't get scared. It will take little bit time, but when it will take little bit time, if you do practice, if you don't practice, it will take more time. Okay, so you have to do
You'll
practice.
forget actually.
You'll forget.
Correct.
So the global tool configuration, if you select it here, you'll find what we have set up. We have set up our uh, Git here, local Git, and we have set up our JDK also. If I click this JDK, we'll see our local JDK. We have set it up here, right? And similarly, we have set up our Mavens also. See this local underscore Maven. So this local underscore Maven, which we have given it there. Now in this code, I have given this local Maven. This code was written very old, I had written, but why this local Maven I have given it here, because that way here in our current project I have given local underscore Maven, but in my previous maybe class I had written local Maven instead of underscore. I had given local Maven. So that name you have to call it here. What tool you are going to use, how the code should understand, you have to give Maven. The configurations in the global configurations, whatever the name you have given, the global configurations, whatever the Maven name you have given, you have to put it here. Got it? And the parameter sections, in the parameter sections we are passing some parameters. You can easily ignore this. If you have to this is called parameterized pipeline. So if you are going to do parameterized pipeline, you can do it here. It's very simple. Give in the parameters. In the parameters you have to give a string, name of the server. Suppose 1 second guys, I'm getting a call. 1 second. Okay, so the strings you can pass like this. So here I have given name. It's something name of the server. Which server? I'm given staging server or production server. The value, default value, suppose the IP addresses of the server, and the description of the, that is fine. This is optional, absolutely optional. These are the strings and the parameters: name, default value, and descriptions. Okay, now the trigger options I have given. This trigger options, where I got it? Poll SCM. This poll SCM I got it from the poll SCM part in the freestyle jobs I saw in the poll SCM, right? Same I have got it here. And the trigger also we can write the webhook also here. I'll show you that also. We can write the webhook. And the stages. What are the stages? Simple stages, we have written it here. Stage, build, and the steps. The first step is in build step. The first step is, I have written here, sh in the shell command, a Maven clean package. Maven clean package. Okay, so if I go here, and yesterday I said one build life cycle, right? That we'll discuss it. So in this Maven project, right, we saw about, guys, will you'll get questions on the build life cycle. Okay, that's why yesterday I gave you this. So in the build life cycle, we have the first thing is to validate. So what it will validate? It will validate the code. Then after validation, it will do the compilation of the code. Then it will test. Which test? It will do the unit test of the code. Then packaging everything. It will package everything, verify the package, do the quality check, and install it to make the installable product, that artifacts, and then it will deploy it. So all these steps it is to be follow one by one another: validate, compile, test, package, install. So these things you will do. So suppose we are using the Maven commands, you can see here, MVN is the Maven command, verify, or you can type MVN clean and deploy. The same thing we are going to write it here in our code. That's called Maven clean package. Instead of deploy, I created package. Okay. After that, you have seen manually when we do the archiving the artifact, that is in the post build section. Post build section, after this step, first step is completed, the post I'll write post. What you have to do, if success, that means if the build success, I have to write success, then echo archiving the comments. So I have write archive artifacts, then artifacts. So where you get all these informations, you can get all these informations in this here. So suppose what I'm going to do, all these tutorials, Jenkins pipeline, go to this Jenkins pipeline tutorial, okay, and you'll get all the codes over here. Okay, so just go any codes if you want. Suppose build a Java app with Maven. If you want to building any Java app, just click it here and you'll get the prerequisites, everything, and the code, all these codes related to the, this is actually Docker files. Okay, this is Docker file, don't worry, I will cover in the Docker section. So don't get confused now, otherwise you'll be scared to work on that. Don't see all this. Okay, I'll just go from the low level and I will make it to advanced level once we focus other parts of the DevOps. Okay, so don't go. Okay, so here you can find it out how you can write the pipeline for that. So easily you can get this pipelines image. Oh, okay, don't get confused in this, leave it. So we can see this Maven clean deploy. Now so what is I did, I just archive the artifacts, and then after that we have to deploy it. The next stage, first stage is build, next step is deployed. In between I skipped the testing part, I skipped it. Okay, I still test the deployment. So the testing will be done instead in the Maven itself. In the Maven build, it will be done the unit testing. That's why I so where that will be done, guys?
In that testing part, no? There you showed in Maven, so there it will.
It will be there in the pom.xml. In the pom.xml, you have to mention the dependencies, the tools, whatever you need for your uh, building and testing in the pom.xml. Similarly, for MS build also for .NET, we have to put it in a different XML file where you need to specify the steps to be built. So Maven command, what it will do, Maven will automatically get the pom.xml file based on the syntax written it there. Whatever developer has done written there, it will build that entire XML file. Okay, so once it is done this part, the next part is actually we are deploying this using this method stage deployment, and here they will get parallelly I am deploying two environment, one deploying staging environment and next one I am deploying to productions. Normally this never happens actually, both staging and production we never deploy, as I has given a name, but it is wrong. We never deploy in real time, we never deploy. For our testing, suppose for just showing you how we can do it, we can do it, but we never deploy in productions from the Jenkins. We use different tools for deployment, or some companies still use Jenkins to deploy it, but we don't directly do that. I'll show you how we do the deployment. Okay, the next thing is you can write it here staging or QA, quality assurance, or some quality check environment. You can both do parallel deployment. So these parallel things you'll get questions, how you'll do parallelly deploy the into the different environment. So you can say in using parallel code, you can using parallel section, you can put it the different stages in parallel also. See here one stage deployment, inside this deployment stage we have different staging environments. Okay, deployment stage, inside stage we have steps we have our code. What is simply I'm just writing this code to deliver the code into the web apps folder. Let's go and do a real-time work now. This is what I was just explaining you. Now let me show this in the setups. So how we can do it here, the new item, write the project, suppose Java project, and I can set up as pipeline as code. I
Yeah.
can PSC Java project PSC pipeline as code, and select pipeline. Okay, so description you can give any description you can give, pipeline demo. Okay, so build trigger. This time, suppose I am selecting anything, either poll SCM or GitHub trigger for get SCM polling. That's fine. Let me select it. Okay, GitHub webhook trigger. Now, see, as soon as I select the pipeline code, I got few options here. Only few options: build trigger, advanced project option, pipeline. Nothing else. But when you select the new freestyle job, you'll get lots of options here, right? Okay, now
Because here we are covering in the script only, no?
exactly here everything we're scripting using the script. So now we'll get two options here: pipeline, script. So whatever script I have written here, I can copy paste everything, copy it and paste it here. That can be done. But again, this is no point of using that. That will no value added to our pipeline code until unless you write in a Jenkins file. Okay, now I don't want to use this. I want to use the automated way of writing the code and keep it in the version control. So how you'll use pipeline script from SCM. So this is suppose one our main last interview, I asked exactly this questions to one of the candidate. So what he told me to write the script. So using the script and the scripted in the syntax itself, in copy paste there and you write it. That means either if he is working already, you may be using this way to write it, but this is not the right way to write. You have to always write in a Jenkins file to do that. So when I select here poll pipeline script from SCM, it automatically give me the SCM source code management. So I have to select which source code management. I am going to select Git.
So Ranjit, then why that option is there actually?
Okay.
The
Why?
previous that space is
So why
a
this
pipeline
option is
script
there?
actually, yeah.
If you are doing some kind of some kind of ad hoc jobs, some kind of ad hoc
Oh,
in
add up. Okay,
pipeline
okay.
also, you are just copy pasting that. And because see, ad hoc job does not mean it's very simple. Even sometimes the scripted line also, some complex ad hoc jobs you are going to do it, you want to execute only once, after that you don't need it, just copy paste it. You don't want to do it, no, see, everything will be one
No
easiest
need
way,
to save
another
it.
will be the controlled way, how you want to control. That's again depends on your way, how you want to script it, right? How you want to control it, that you have to write it down. Now if I write the copy paste everything here and write it, what will happen next time when I have to edit something? What I have to do, I have to come here and then edit something and then save it. Suppose I write one pipeline, let me write one simple
No, it's okay. No.
pipeline, and suppose agent, and I'm just giving you, I'm not going to execute it any. And here what I've done,
Okay.
I have to write some stages, and inside stages I just one more stage. I'm just giving a skeletal information here. Stage, suppose this stage, suppose I'm going to add build. This stage is build. Okay, and another stage I'm going to add, that is suppose deploy. Okay, what happens? And in this test build, I'm just going to build something like in the SSH. I'm just going to build, suppose, Maven clean deploy or clean install. And in the deploy, I just wrote something scp to deploy something. Okay, I just get deploy the code. Okay, so what happens? So tomorrow, if you want to add anything in this deploy line, so I just suppose saved it. My code is now created. Okay, so what will happen if I want to, suppose tomorrow or in future you want to update it? So what you have to do? You have to log into the Jenkins. What then? You have to come here, do the configuration, and come to the entirely path here, right? Entirely here. Then you have to modify something. Again, suppose I added one more line, modified something, saved it. So here what we'll do, our previous things is gone now. We have only one thing to do, that is one place only. Any previous changes whatever is done will not find it out, only you will get the updated one, only the updated one. We don't have any version control here. This is something ad hoc. If you want to do it in a scripted line,
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
you can do it, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's not the way to. And this is if you want to do it from the code, if you want to write it, you can just go there. And suppose if I go here and I'm going to use, suppose, this project, let me go and get some project, doubles wave. Here I'm going to get this line, and here I have already Jenkins file added. So Jenkins file, if you just click this, so this is the Jenkins file. I have written it here, Jenkins file. Okay, now what I'm going to do it here, I have to just clone this URL, copy this URL, go to your SCM, select git. So guys, here we are not doing any setups, only simply selecting the trigger. Even though trigger, if you don't want, you don't select anything. Simply you have to come to these advanced options, select the repositories, and that's all. So it is asking for it is not asking for any credentials because it is public. Okay, so if it is private, you can give it private here. Now the branch to build. So which branch? Suppose I'm master branch, I'm going to build. That's all. And this is very important. The script path is Jenkins file. So in our things, we don't have anything else except our Jenkins file. Okay, now let me save this code. Let me save this code. Okay, save this code. Now what I am to do, the my work as a DevOps engineer now starts. We got the code, and in this repository we not have this Jenkins file added. This is where the DevOps engineer has to write the Jenkins file by himself. Okay, now if I go the, okay, DevOps web app is already there. Let me just VS code. Okay, so here Jenkins file, right? This Jenkins file will be written by a DevOps engineer. So whatever the project will be, we'll get it from the developer. The source code will get it, the project source code URL will get it from the developer. But this file will be added by a DevOps engineer. So I am going to automate the builds. So I have to write this code. I created a simple file. It is a, what is a Jenkins file? It is a simple plain text file. We don't should not have give any extensions here.
Mm-hmm.
Just J capital letter J, and then Jenkins file. The file name should be Jenkins file. So there will be a questions,
Jenkins
in
file.
which
Mm-hmm.
file, in which file you have to write your pipeline code. What is the answer?
Jenkins File.
Jenkins file, and it is a simple text file. The file name is
Hmm.
Jenkins file. Yesterday in the interview, I asked the same questions. He could not tell me, and he has written in his resume he has done lots of pipeline automation. I simply asked in which file you write the
Hmm.
code. He is telling something else. He is bluffing actually. That means he does not know actually. He has written everything in the resume, but he does not know where to write the pipeline. If you have never written any
Hmm.
pipeline, if you don't do practice, even you cannot answer these questions. You will forget it. So you have to write and you have to do practice. At least 1 2 projects you do it. Then only you remember all where to write the code. Okay. So now what I have written it here, I have written pipeline agent any, and here the Maven is local Maven. So is it correct? So let me go my dashboard,
Okay.
go to global configurations. There only you have to get the informations, right? So how you'll do it? Go to manage Jenkins,
Yeah, yeah.
global tools. This is real time. You have to do the setups, and then you have to go to the Maven build. And what is the name? The name I have given as local underscore
Underscore
Maven.
Maven.
Then it is correct. So my code is written. So I'm writing Maven. This is correct. Okay. Now I'll give a call this staging name. I gave a string parameter staging name and default value. So what is this? This is the Tomcat server IP address. So I just go to the Tomcat server, go to my instances, and I'll go to my Tomcat server, which staging server I want to. So this is my staging server. Suppose I made this as my staging server, test server. So I just select it,
Public.
go there and paste it here. Okay. Description remote staging server. That's fine. And the build section, I just use sh maven clean package. I did this command ssh. That means we are making a shell script here, shell command, shell program, shell prompt, and then writing this code. After that, build this building steps. We have the post section. In the post, after this success, I'm just artifacting this. If you want to remove this, that's also okay. We can remove it. That means it will not archive the code, but let it be there. This time I'll remove in the next build. First build I'll just keep it here, next build I'll remove it. And then deployment, I'm just deploying to the staging environment. So what I have written it here, I have just as I parameterized it, I have given ssh. In that I have just simply written scp. So hyphen v is a verbose mode, hyphen o, and I'm just giving strict host key checking no, and host key checking is not required. Using root, I'm just copying the file to our Tomcat web server. Now this is the
That
code.
is Unix command.
Unix command. This is the Unix, entirely Unix command. Okay.
Hmm.
Now so what I have to do next, suppose this is more, I modified the Jenkins file. So DevOps engineer also should know the git commands to update this into the remote repositories, otherwise it will not work, right? So what I have to do, so it is modified. So for understanding how the deployment has done successfully, suppose I am modifying something in the code all itself. Don't do this one. This is a separate part. I'm doing it. So let me do it demo as pipeline demo. Pipeline to show you that this code has exactly worked whatever we have done, but we don't need to update this. Don't get confused, guys. You don't have to do anything, don't have to touch the developer's code. This is developer's code I updated to show you, to demo you, but I'm not updating it. You normally don't have to update the developer's code, don't have to touch any source code. Okay, only you have to work on the Jenkins file. You have to only work on the Jenkins file. Sometimes you have to work on the pom.xml as well. You have to add something, get some information from the developer, and you have to modify something. That is little bit required, okay, but not exactly you have to work on that. So what I'm going to work in
Hmm.
Jenkins file, I updated the Jenkins files. Now I have to go to the Okay, sorry, I have to go to the terminal now. So go to the my project. So my project is in the desktop. I have a DevOps web. This is the project, and if I do git branch, I'm in the master branch. If I do git status to check the any updation happen, git status. So we have modified only. See, the DevOps engineer has modified the
Then
Jenkins file. This is the developers suppose developers has updated. That's fine. Okay. So a DevOps engineer has modified this file. Now I'm going to commit it, right? Git add, then git
the
commit -m.
okay.
Oh, I gave it a single. So I just committed it. After that, I need to push it to master, right? Master to origin.
Push
Uh,
origin master.
origin master. So guys, I did it. Now, if I go here, I'll see two jobs will be triggered. Why two jobs? Can anybody tell me?
Sorry,
One is to build
what
task
to
into the flow. Because
Why?
you put two tasks, one to
two
build
tests,
and one.
Sorry?
Jenkins files there.
Okay.
Now in the
No, my
Jenkins file, you
two jobs,
mentioned two.
two jobs will be executed.
As defined in the file itself. The two jobs have been set.
Okay. So why? Because these two jobs, I'll tell you now. The two jobs, if you see, I have this Maven project jobs I had selected through webhook trigger, it will be triggered. And this one also, the pipeline demo, whatever we created, that also will be triggered through the webhook. When the developer push the code to the repository, automatically webhook will be triggered. So whatever the jobs is part of that webhook, it will be executed. So let me disable this project first. I don't want this project to run. How to disable a project? That also interview questions, and that's a real-time thing. Suppose if you don't want to build a project, you can disable a project by selecting this button, disable project. I just made this project to disable. That means this MB Java project will not run anymore until unless you enable it. Okay, that's how you have to disable a
Okay.
project. Now let me work on this thing, guys. It did not work. It has not executed. Why? Can you tell me? Anybody can tell me why? It normally, because we have,
Modify.
yeah, we have set up the jobs GitHub web to it should be triggered. Why it did not trigger? Yeah, Shiva, you're telling something.
modify modify something and
Why to modify? I already modified, right?
update.
I already modified, right? I already modified and pushed the code to the repositories. It should automatically trigger. Why it did not trigger? Okay, the two things you should always check it out. The two things. First thing is which project you have set up the webhook. We selected this as a DevOps web. Whether we have any
Okay.
anything say webhook set up for this web DevOps DevOps web project or not. That you have to check first. Okay, let's check that one. Go to settings. Go to webhooks. Whether it is set up or not. Yes, it is set up. Then why it did not work? Then what is this IP address? This is the what is this server, guys? If I edit it,
Our Jenkins server.
exactly. So then why it did not work? This is our Jenkins server. if you see this IP address and this Jenkins IP address are different, because I restarted the Jenkins server and it generated a different IP, right?
Okay.
So that's why it did not execute
Yes.
the job, right? So
Uh,
what I'm going to do
mhm.
here, so these things will come in your mind once you do practice. Okay, so I can easily find it
Yeah,
out
yeah.
because I know what could be the problem, because I always work on that. So that's why when you do practice, you will easily understand. Now I updated the current Jenkins server information in the webhook. Now update the webhook. Okay, so we can check the recent deliveries here, and if you see here, last delivery was failed to connect because the server itself was not there, so it is
Server.
okay. Now what we can do, okay, that's fine. So next time when we update something in build, it will work. Okay, but meanwhile let me do manual build it. Okay, manually build this project. Now you know how to set up the webhook. We saw two times. Once is normal
Yeah, yeah.
different and
Mm.
executing throw error and everything, we saw it. Now let me manually build it. Once see here, you can see this, it is executing. It is executing. See the pipeline, you can see one view, some simple diagram is coming here. See guys,
Yeah, yeah.
it's really looking really good, right? Check fast did checkout,
Declarative check.
then
Uh,
declarative tool install, and then did the deployment, and then the staging. So where we are getting a
Declarative
beautiful
check.
diagram, this one, this is failed, that is fine, we'll just fix out the issues. But where you are getting this diagram, this UI we are getting as part of this blue ocean and pipeline. The pipeline
Okay.
blue ocean tag and the pipeline as code UI. So whatever we have done the installed in the plugin, that will get it. So if you click on this blue ocean thing, you'll get even different options. See, in the real time actually we work on this. So you can get this informations like this project, and we get started by the Ranjit Kumar, the user 27 Seiko. Okay, all these informations. If you see activities here, you can see the branches. Okay, so branches not supported. That is fine. So I can just go to the activity. If you want to run it, you can run it again. Remote staging server. So it is asking to remote staging server here. Run it again. See, I'm executing the build it again. So if you go back and see, another build is here, and same thing also working here, two stages. Now
Mm.
if you want to see why this build is failed, click this one, go to console outputs. So we'll see all the stages. First stage is clean package, that building stage. If you see here, build is success. So if you see that error, it was failed in the deployment stage, right? Deploy to staging environment, it is failed. So why it is failed? Could not resolve host name.
Name and server not known.
Okay, so now if I check the server and the, okay, fine, so we can fix the problem. So we can go to this server, get the IP address of the Tomcat server, and check whether our Tomcat server is running or not. 8080, yes, Tomcat server is not running. So let's quickly log into the,
Start.
so what we can do, SSH. Okay, so what is happening here now? Let me go to the cd opt Okay, Tomcat server is not running. Also, we can do cd opt Tomcat server and go to the bin directory sudo. Okay, now if I go here and okay, see it's automatically started running. Now let me just run the job again and see what is happening, if we are getting any further error on that. Okay, just go here. And one more thing you have guys noticed, instead of build now, we are getting build with parameters. See, that is called parameterized pipeline. You'll get questions also. Okay, parameter. So
Yeah, yeah.
if you check other jobs, we'll have only build now option, but here is having build with parameters. So if I click this build with parameters, it is asking me the staging server if you want to execute. So what is the staging server we have? We have this 37205, right? So 37205. Okay, now click on the build.
Correct.
Yeah, build.
So Ranjit, here parameter how we can pass actually?
Then, how we pass? Yeah, the parameters whatever is.
No parameter
Yeah. Here the
that
parameters.
export all these. Oh, these are the parameters.
These are
Okay.
the parameters I set up in the code itself, right? The parameters whatever I have
Oh, okay. Okay.
here. So it is giving the default parameter 205. If you want to change it to, you can change it there. Or if you want to change default parameter here, you can update into the code and give it here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now again it's failed. Let's check what is the other
Mm-hmm.
error. Uh,
So now then Tomcat is running.
Now Tomcat is running. Now the problem is SCP root checking no target. Okay, target DevOps words fine. Is there user root? This debug could not resolve host name or service not known. Why it is saying name and service not known? Okay, let me try something else. If I do, okay, it gives null here. It gives null here. Did you find, guys?
Root at the rate
Yeah, root at the rate null. That means it did not get the IP addresses.
user ID.
So this is how,
Mm-hmm.
guys, you have to, after seeing the logs, you have to troubleshoot the error. So this is definitely a
Analyze them.
DevOps engineer has to fix this error, right? So you have to analyze this is null.
Yeah, yeah.
Why this IP address is not coming, right? So if I go and check the code here, can anybody tell me? This is really a good troubleshooting part. What changes should I do to get reflected? Check the code. First thing, how you'll troubleshoot as a production support engineer or DevOps production support engineer, you have to check which part it is failing. Simple, I'm making it simple. Failing in the deploy to staging stage. So in our code,
Mm.
just come to deploy to stage. That means here it is failing.
Mm.
So what is the problem? It is
Mm.
taking null here. And why it is taking null?
Mm.
I'm giving params dot tomcat underscore staging. Is there anything tomcat underscore staging? No. I update it is here
Mm.
actually staging underscore server. The parameter name I have given staging underscore server. But
Underscore
here I have
server.
passed
Okay, okay.
tomcat underscore staging. Right. So what I have to do, I have to just check it here. Now delete,
Mm-hmm.
paste it here, save this one. So now I did some modification in my Jenkins file. What I have to do, I have to update again. So git check the status. It should be only Jenkins file is updated. So git add,
Yeah, yeah.
git commit -n. So I am just pushing this code. So what should happen this time? It should automatically build the trigger as per the webhook. Okay. So if I go here and check my build,
Webhook.
build number 4 will be running. So just wait for a few seconds. It should trigger the build number 4. If it is not running, then again there should be problem with the webhook. So why it is taking too much time? It's not running. So let's go and check the webhook why it is not running. So if I go to DevOps web settings, go to the webhooks and edit, go to the, it's correct, right? 52 50, 66 to not 10 to the what is the wrong, what is the error, guys? Can you tell me what is the error here? See, here I have given extra slash here. It should not be slash here.
Slash, yeah, yeah. Slash, yeah, correct.
It should be colon. Okay.
After that, colon also.
So that's the causing thing. Okay. A bit whatever.
Yes, so many debugs we are getting. We're lucky then.
You have to do. You have to see. That's why I'm telling. While setting the DevOps, it will take days of time to do the setup. You'll get lots of breaks. You have to fix it everything. And at the end of the day, you'll be exhausted fixing the error because we cannot do the setups. I'm telling you the real time. We are doing one work. It's more than 1 week. It's still not done. We're still doing. Something we are setting up and something breaking. So thing. Okay, fine. So now,
Then,
yeah, we got that. But so far, let me build with parameters. We have to check this one. Build it. Hopefully, it should go success this time, or else I'll break my head. That you do fix it. So it should success.
it will result.
Yeah,
Success.
good. It's success
So
now.
that we can wind up also.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
good sir.
So let's go to the our application. So it is DevOps web. Good. See, we can see our pipeline demo. Got it. So our pipeline is now
Yeah,
done. So any code changes you have to do it here. Now onwards, you have to do all the changes this here, and you have to push the code to the repositories. Then it's all done. All the versions will be
all done.
right. So if I check these things in the repositories, GitHub repositories, I can find all the information. See, Jenkins files updated 4 minutes ago, and if I check it here, I can find it, all this information. Good, guys. So now understood pipeline is finished entirely. So tomorrow's class will do this slave and agent setup, master and slave setups, and email setup.
Master slave.
Okay. Then that is done. Once that is setup is done, we'll do it tomorrow. We'll do master slave setup and also one small project, and one more on Tuesday we'll do one more project and complete the Jenkins. Then we'll do with Docker, and we'll go with Docker and other tools. Okay, Docker tools. Yeah. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Then see you on tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Tuesday.